Welcome back to Autism for Badass Moms, the podcast where it is okay to be a badass. I'm your host, Rashida, and today I love when my guests come to the studio. I just get this good feel. It's just a whole different vibe when we have beautiful autism moms come out here. And so we have Chelsea.
Hi.
She's from Jersey, y'all.
I'm not from Jersey originally, but now I'm a Jersey girl.
Oh, yeah. So you're vetted,
right? I mean, I live here now, so I'm a Jersey girl.
But I am so happy that you decided to come in person to the show.
Yes, I'm excited to be here.
This is great. So for those who are not Jerseyans, we're in this kind of weather flow of don't know what to wear. I was coming out with prepared with no coat or sweater. I was like, what are you doing?
Is it fall? Is it winter? Is it summer?
Next week it'll be summer.
Literally.
It'll be summer. That's why I haven't given up the flip-flops. I haven't.
Me neither. I'm literally wearing flats.
All right. So let's get into it. Your daughter,
yes,
Layla. That is, I'm not having another child, but if I were to have another child, right. Layla would be my daughter's name.
Oh,
beautiful name.
Thank you.
Layla's 12.
She's 12 years old.
Okay.
Yes, my firstborn.
Your firstborn. You have 3.
I have 3.
So you have the 12-year-old.
I have a 12-year-old, I have a 10-year-old, and I have a 5-year-old.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
A lot.
Too much. Probably too much. Too much, too fast, right? But Layla was my firstborn. I had her 12 years ago in Washington, D.C.
Now, you don't look like you had no child 12 years ago.
You know what? I was a young mom.
No child.
I was a young mom.
Okay.
But I always wanted to just knock it out of the park and just be like, all right, married, kids. Looking back at 36, I'm like, that was probably not the right path. But
So take us back.
Yeah.
You said that you were a young mom, and just bring us up to speed to when you got that diagnosis for your daughter.
Absolutely. So I had Layla when I was 24. And so right around, we all experience the same thing as autism moms when we start noticing some things, right? So I felt like around 12 months, I was like, we're not picking up on some of the milestones, right?
Okay.
And I had the hunch and that intuition in my belly, but I felt like I wanted to talk to others, and everybody was like, no, she's fine.
Now, were you thinking autism, or were you thinking that just has a delay?
I thought delay.
Okay.
So I immediately got an early intervention.
Okay.
But most of the time they can't say whether or not, because they're just interventionists, right?
Right.
And so, like I said, I had that hunch, and I was like, okay, let's just go to the doctor. And I felt like I didn't have the support around me, and everybody was like, no, just wait it out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think that's what we're supposed to do. And so I was just throwing myself into research, and I was like, all right, let's just get the diagnosis. And we'll just pave the way and the roadmap from there.
So, with Layla, what were you seeing that caused you to say, hey, something is a little off?
Yeah, totally. I think I was watching my other friends, and they had their, first birthday party, and the babies were starting to walk and stuff, and I was like, she's not doing that, right?
Yeah.
And it was a lot of comparisons and playing, and wasn't doing a lot of the sitting up very well, right? So her core wasn't as strong, and so sensory issues, right? She wasn't making too much eye contact.
Okay.
And then she also wasn't doing small utterings, just like mama, dada. We weren't doing any of those.
Okay.
So I was like, I'd love to wait it out, but.
Now, did your pediatrician say anything?
It was a very old school, small practice. And they were like, well, let's just give it some time. And I was like, I don't.
So your spidey senses was saying let's just. I know I'm mom. We know.
Why are you even testing me?
Yeah.
Come on. I know my baby. I had her. She was in me.
Don't test her.
Right. Literally. So, we
So you did the
got
early
it.
intervention.
Yeah, yeah.
And then how soon after that did the diagnosis come?
18 months.
Oh, okay.
So at 18 months, we went to the pediatrician. They got back to us, and we're on a waiting list for God knows how long to
Right.
get that diagnosis. And it was very straightforward. And they don't give you any textbooks. They don't give you
No.
anything.
Like resources, like here you go.
They're like, there you go, diagnosis. See you later. Close the door. Which is fine, right? But
You know what's interesting? I've been thinking about this. When we think about like medical diagnoses, like high blood pressure, when I got diagnosed with that, or
Yes.
diabetes, they send you, they connect you, they give you all these this is what you can eat, this is what you can't
a
eat.
packet or something.
And with autism, it's just kind of like, here's a number to early intervention, good luck.
Literally.
Although they're, not to discredit, there's probably some amazing pediatricians out there, but for most of us, that's our journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we turn into pediatricians.
Yeah.
And like 15 different hats. Every autism mom.
Yeah. And we were talking about that before, too. I was like, we were like police officers and everything. Lawyers.
Transportation.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the diagnosis, you finally got it.
Yes, we finally got it. And I felt weirdly relieved. Because I was just like, my spidey senses were correct.
They were,
this
yeah.
whole time, and then I knew where to go at that point. So I was like, excuse me. I was like, okay, so now we can look into this, and then we can look into that, and we can do the nutrition-based things. We can try something homeopathic. We can go the medical route, right? So
You had different options that you could explore.
Yeah. So, but I felt still on an island, if you will, right? Because I was just like, okay, so I'm happy. Like, we can move forward. And I felt like a lot of people around me were in grief, right?
Yeah, because they felt that this was not a possibility. Like
Right.
this wasn't
The end.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, it's just a different way of looking at it for me. So I think there was a lot of grief and denial and, my family they were just like, okay, so where do we go from here?
Okay.
And I was like, all right, well, looks like we have to learn, like, you know what I mean? And I jumped in head first. With no, flotation device. Literally don't know what I'm doing, but
So you got the diagnosis, there was a sense of relief because you were already in a sense prepared because you knew that there was something.
yeah.
And family, it sounds like they had to catch up. It was a grieving process for them.
Yeah.
Did you ever go through a grief period with a diagnosis?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like I said, I was young. So the majority of my
Yes.
friends are, just finishing college, going to grad school, like living their best life in New York City and the Sex and the City life. And here I am with a
That's my next life.
right after we're moms, right?
Mr. Big.
The next one, right? Yeah. So I felt like I was like, okay, I'm missing out on like my early 20s, and now I have this baby, and I'm married, and I have this diagnosis.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, all the things that I had idealized, if you will, kind of went to the side a little bit. And I was like, well, this is going to look a little different than I thought.
Yeah.
But I was weirdly positive about it. I did have a grief period, but I was just like, all right, back to work,
And is that your personality?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I'm definitely a fixer. I'm a wedding planner and an event planner. So like chaos is my thing. I love it. I don't know.
You're like, I walk right into this.
Yeah,
This is
it's
easy.
like trauma response. All right, cool.
Okay. So, and remembering that you were a young mom, did you ever feel like maybe the doctors or family just didn't take you seriously because you're young? Yeah, what do you know?
That part.
Yeah.
That part. And I felt like even just like, when you have a baby and they're falling out or they're hitting somebody, right? they're looking at it like, oh, she's a young, like a teen mom.
Yeah.
Right? That's just had this young baby and they don't have good discipline. And we ran into that at like childcare centers because I look young, right?
Yeah.
So I'm showing up with this baby and she's having some behavioral issues. So the perception was I'm not doing a good job as a mom.
And that sounds, I mean, I've experienced,
Yeah.
I wasn't a young mom, but the frustration,
Yeah.
that comes with the judgment of others.
Totally.
How did you deal with others' opinions?
You know what? I think, like you said, I think that's in my personality. It's like, okay, being different. I growing up, I had ADD.
Okay.
But I was a late diagnosis in like high school. But I always felt a little bit loud for one.
Okay.
I couldn't finish things. I had trouble in school, right? So being outcasty and having a big personality was always me.
Okay.
So I felt like, one, I could see something in Layla, right, that I had, right, in me.
Okay.
And so I kind of almost took that personally. So for them to be discriminating on me because I'm like this young mom that I'm like, okay. And then she's thinking differently. Like I thought differently growing up. I was like, oh, no, we're not doing this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I felt like even amongst the diagnosis, I just had to do what I had to do for her, mainly because she's a girl too, right? So if she needs to see what a mom can do, right? Because maybe one day she will, or how women just fix, right? Come in and save the day.
Yeah.
So I needed her to see that role model in me.
And you definitely are an amazing role model
Thank you,
for your daughter.
Thank you.
And I was thinking back to you had mentioned in your pre-interview about emotional burnout.
Oh my gosh.
Talk to me about the emotional burnout.
Oh my gosh. I think the weird positivity that I did give off at one point or another, you can only be so positive.
Yeah.
The school, the back-to-back OT, PT, speech, right? I was like, how do I work, right? So I literally had to go into entrepreneurship or create my own lane because I was like, okay, how am I going to do this? How am I going to be home for this? Then Layla's 2, and I find out I'm pregnant with another one.
Oh.
So when I say emotionally burnt out, I was like, oh, we're gonna do this again.
So you're navigating the autism world and the specialist and this person telling you this and this one telling you this and you need to do this, right? Which took you out of what you were doing vocationally to dedicate your time and your effort to your child.
My whole life.
And then lo and behold, it's here we go. The next baby is on the way.
You ready?
Ready.
You ready? You ready? You want to do this again? So I felt like the emotional burnout and the grief was like, all right, strap up. We're doing this again. So I didn't really get a chance to do the grief, right, with Layla. I was like, I'm pregnant. I have another baby on the way. And I still had to do those things. And I still had to work and raise a family. You know what I mean?
That's a lot.
It was a lot. And I'm 26 by now.
That's a lot.
Yes. So I definitely went through some periods of like a little low. And, depression comes with being pregnant.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I had my first Layla, then my second, Jaden. He's a little boy. And so I had all the interventions and a 2-year-old and a newborn.
And we're positive.
We're staying positive, people. We're staying positive. But I think, like I said, we all have our ups and downs, but I was definitely leaning on family all the time. we moved from Washington, D.C. to New Jersey, and to be closer to family, to have some support.
Which is great.
Like, I don't know where we would be without them.
Okay.
But yeah, like I said, I had to quit my job. Like, I had to do all the things. And it was a lot of motherhood before I was prepared for it. Right?
Yeah.
I'm 26. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, think about what you were doing at 26. Not that.
I think I was going to the clubs. Do those exist
Right?
still?
Were you, like,
know?
dancing on
I think I
couches?
was in the tunnel. I was in the tunnel.
I love that for you. I was not. I was raising children.
Raising children.
Raising kids. Yes.
Now, did there ever come a point where you were just like exhausted? Because sometimes I'm a positive person too.
Yeah.
And I'm like a work.
Right.
And then to the point I run myself down.
Absolutely.
And then I'm like, how did I get here?
Literally.
Did that happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have I still have 3, right? But there was a long break, and I was like, no more kids.
Mm-hmm.
No more kids. Like, I'm done. I threw myself into work again. I felt like, okay, let's patch up this season of my life with work. Patch up this season of my life with play. Patch up this, you know what I mean? And they were just patches, right? And it got to a space where I was like, okay, let me get into therapy, right? Because I didn't realize what I was taking on was so heavy until I spoke to my other friends.
Okay.
You know, my mom, my mother-in-law, they were like, you have a lot on your plate, you know? Like, and not everyone can just be a badass all the time.
Now, did you so when that was said, like when other people would say initially, you have a lot on your plate, did you really say to yourself, yeah, that's a lot on my plate? Or was it just like, don't worry, I get, I'm good, I'm fine?
Toxic positivity.
Yeah.
It's a little toxic. It's in my job description as an event planner. Oh, what? No, there's no fire. There's no fire. What are you talking about? No.
The caterers are not here.
No, they didn't drop the cake. It's fine. Everything's fine. So I think until I spoke truth, right? And I was like, oh, this is a lot, right? Until I had a friend that was like, so you went to work, you came home, you did occupational therapy, you know, put the baby to bed, did this, came back, got back up, went to this. And she was like, girl, you're not going to survive like this.
Yeah.
Right? But like you said, it wasn't until someone really, you know, said, hey, maybe you should slow down.
Were you sleeping? Like, did you?
I don't think self-care was on the menu.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Yeah.
for a long time. And I think it's funny because one of my best friends is a stylist. And she would be like, oh, no, come down to the salon. And she wasn't charging me. And she was just like, no, I had to do that for you because you didn't take care of yourself for a good period of time. And I had to pour into you because, you know, your kids, they love you, but they don't pour into you, right? Like your girls do, like your family does. And so the self-care, like I said, was hard. I was more in a state of survival, with 2 back-to-back babies, the diagnosis, the school issues. We've all experienced
It's
things.
like multiple battles within, each child, right? And then the child with autism, just the different pieces of the puzzle.
Yes. It's always, like you said, it's a battle.
Yeah.
But there's seasons. And we were talking about this earlier. The baby season is like, looking back, you're like, oh my God, it wasn't that bad. Going to multiple interventionists inside your home, I'll take it any day over the teenage years. But yeah, no, I felt like it was a long season, but it was just a season.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know you had said therapy. Was that something you had done previously? How did you get to that place?
Good question. I had done the first level of therapy that I think I did was marriage therapy with my husband before we got married, and then when we first got married, kind of around the diagnosis season.
Okay.
Which is consequently also the rocky marriage season. Because internally we're all going through something.
Yeah.
His was kind of denial at first, because that's men. We love them, but they be denying. And me was like the toxic positivity.
Let's just do it. Let's get this go. Yeah.
Let's go to work. And so I think we weren't clicking in that season. And so as a result of that, I was like, this is helpful, right?
Okay.
So I did it myself. And I remember it's so wild how things work. Her best friend was an autism mom. Crazy, right?
Yeah. The universe,
like,
just
always working. And so she was like, okay, so tell me about your day, right? Just standard therapy.
Yeah.
And I would say the things, just, oh, well, I did this, I did it. Did you eat? Did you sleep? Did you?
like basic stuff.
Crazy. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, this toxic positivity isn't working as well as I think it is.
Okay.
Along with my friends, but I think I was in denial with everybody saying, hey, you have a lot on your plate.
Yeah.
Until like an actual therapist with a degree is telling me, I started believing it, right? Who knew? But yeah, it was very, very helpful. She was also into connecting me to other badass moms.
Oh, that's great.
Yes. And I didn't realize how much I needed that. Right? Because you feel like you're on this island, right? Your friends have, neurotypical kids, and they're jumping and they're doing this and they're getting A's on their tests, and you're like,
and your child is not having this similar experiences.
Right. And it was different. So, therapy was a godsend for me, for sure.
What do you feel like it helped you with?
Let's see. I feel like recognizing my boundaries, right? They exist, for one.
Yeah.
No is a whole sentence.
Whole type of sentence.
No, period.
That's it.
That's it, right? And just, if I felt like I was overwhelmed in something, it's probably because I put it on my plate.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
Like taking responsibility
for all the things, right? Instead of just being toxic and positive and, right? Just moving forward and just like, oh, yeah, I'm fine. Like, no, you're not. You're not.
That's interesting. When I first got into therapy, being a therapist, the therapists fight therapy. It's so weird. So weird. I was like, I don't need. I'm a therapist.
I don't need this.
I should know. No, I didn't know nothing. But initially going to therapy, it helped me to. I feel like I wasn't good enough, like a good enough mom. Like I wasn't doing enough.
I totally get it.
I could be doing more. Comparing my child to other children with autism, and they are speaking. Did I do something wrong? If my child, is limited in speaking, and so it was just kind of getting to the point of accepting that I am doing the best that I can do under the circumstances, that was huge.
It literally everything.
Yeah.
Right. And I think kids without autism, their mothers do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
The mom guilt is real.
Yeah.
It's very real. But I think for us, it's a little heavier. And we don't have someone saying, no, mommy, you're doing an amazing job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they know that we know that we're doing everything.
Yeah.
That we can do. And we have to just take it a day at a time. My mom used to say that every single day to me.
it's we say the day at a time, but when you really can soak that in of like just focus on today. That's it. Don't think about when your mind wants to go to like yesterday, or I know I got this and this. That causes like a lot of anxiety.
All of it.
A lot of anxiety.
A lot of anxiety.
Now you connected to other badass moms.
Yes.
You said that you didn't realize that you needed that support.
Did. Yes.
What kind of support did you get from them?
Just, it's so funny. I feel like, again, the universe, God, always puts me with other autism moms, right? And when I get with them, we can say the things that are cringy to other people, right? It's like, oh, my kid poop smeared.
Yeah.
And other people are like, what?
Oh my gosh, that's so scary.
Clenches pearls, right? No, not an autism mom. We're like, girl, me too. You know? And it's funny because, like I said, I'm a wedding planner. I had an amazing, amazing bride, right? And she was like on the cusp of the like diagnosis period, right? And she was getting married. And she wanted them to be in the wedding, right? They were definitely having some issues, and I was like, we're putting them on my side and we're walking down, right? And I felt like when I'm with my people, like autism moms, we joke, we say the poop smearing jokes, right? But we also have the tears, and it's like, girl, I'm so tired. Girl, I can't make it another day. Like, it's like my people, right? You know,
it's a different. It's validating. It is, again, similar experiences, or that mom may say, oh yeah, they went through the poop smearing, but they're good now. Right. And it gives you hope, like, okay, this will end hopefully soon.
Absolutely.
But it is just something different from having that support of other people who just get you. And they can just look at you and just know, like, you know, like, you know, is he taking you through it today? Like, what is happening?
Today a good day?
Yeah, you know.
Did you get a win?
You know, can you deal with what I want to tell you? No.
Listen, the support that community, just autism moms, like, we just get it.
Yeah.
We don't have to say much. And, you know, in a house where there's little words sometimes, you don't know. You're guessing all the time.
There has been times, it's so funny, in the autism world, my one son, you know, he stims, and I'm on the phone with a friend of mine, and he's going to town with the stimming, you know, like we have
at the same time.
Yeah, we have a symphony going.
Listen.
And it's so funny, and I'll be like, oh, you know, I'm sorry, you know, like, you didn't hear my son? I'm like, no, I didn't hear your son because I'm so focused on this. Like,
right.
Girl, like, what are you?
Girl, I'm not even listening.
I know.
They're stimming. They're having a great time.
Spinning
in a circle.
And they will stay on the phone with you. But then I have my neurotypical, you know, friend, who's neurotypical, and then it's just like, do you want me to call you back? Listen, like, we navigate.
Right. It's like, girl, I can hear you.
Hold on. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
That's all.
That's it. Let me move over here. But it is a different vibe, like with just having your tribe.
Yeah.
Having your tribe.
My sisters, like, I love them. And also, I will say, I'm one of those autism moms that I will school you, even if you don't want to be schooled, right? Because my baby's coming, right? She's coming to the function.
Yeah.
She's coming to the party.
Yeah.
She might need some noise canceling headphones. We might need some other accommodations, but I've always been like, okay, this is who Layla is. This is what she needs. And this is autism.
Do you think that's the event planning? Because there's a lot of moms out there who pivot, you know, or I don't want to go there because it'll just be too much.
Right.
Do you think that just being able to navigate spaces?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think my personality is kind of like, all right, either you're going to get with it or you get lost.
Like, you invited me.
Right. And Layla's coming. So what are you going to do? But yeah, I think it's definitely also, I feel like I have to speak for the people that can't speak, right? And it's like, if this is my child, right? And she wants to participate like everybody else, it's my job to make her comfortable.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
The world should accommodate our children.
Yeah.
Just like everyone else, you know?
Absolutely.
So I'm always coming through guns blazing.
Guns blazing. Oh,
every time.
It's a little scared.
Hypothetically.
Where's your purse?
Right.
Jed. had talked about embracing autism and running towards the diagnosis.
Yes.
Tell me, like, what does that mean to you?
I just wasn't afraid of it.
Yeah.
I felt like if I was denying it, I was going to be dealing with it one way or another.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, get the diagnosis that, like I said, I got diagnosed with ADHD in high school. I had ADD my whole life, right? And I felt like a lot of the things that the challenges that I had in school, not finishing things, all that stuff, right? I could have avoided, right? If I had that diagnosis, if I was on medication when I was supposed to. And I think a lot of families are afraid of putting a label on their child. And I was like, the label is the key to everything.
Yeah.
Literally.
And that's a great perspective, like a way of looking at it.
Yeah. Sometimes my toxic positivity works in good ways. Sometimes.
Because you need it. It's almost like, to get into the club, you have to have your ID that says, you're of age to get into the club.
Perfect metaphor.
Right?
Literally. It's like, oh, you have an X on your hand because you decided to not get a label.
Right.
Right? And now your child is going into these spaces and they don't know how to navigate that. So it's like working backwards, right? And I felt like I was like we got to get in that door, right? And the diagnosis is the way in. Also, like I said, those autism moms that like usher you in, they're like, listen, baby, get the diagnosis and everything else will work out, right? Like, and I was in that space of, oh, maybe it's sensory processing, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. It's just like get something on paper so that you can get the IEP, so that you can unlock those doors. That's it, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not gonna deny what's going on, right? I know it. I felt it. My intuition told me. A doctor told me.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. It's hard.
It is.
It really is hard because, as moms, we don't want to, we don't want anything to happen to our child or,
of course.
And the label. But in this respect, right, like this does open up. Insurance companies want to see that diagnosis, whatever. I used to know the number by heart, the code.
Girl, not knowing Aetna by heart.
I knew the ICD number. Now I'm like, what was the number? Because we had another diagnosis now.
Right, girl.
But it is important because of, and a lot of moms will say the early intervention, is the key.
It is.
Is the key.
It is.
And I always tell people, like, some people think it's like, oh, it's too late. It's not too late.
No, it's
Just
never too late.
Just do it.
Just
It's hard.
Yeah, you got to run into the fire. You got to run into the kitchen. Like you got to.
Yeah.
It's gonna get hot
Yeah.
for sure, but you can't just say, oh well, let's wait it out. I don't think that's the best option.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's hard when you have, I call it the committee, who's saying there's nothing wrong with your child because they're in denial and they don't want, they're doing their best, but it's really hard when you have cheerleaders that are just, kind of navigating that shit with you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's tough, but you got to go there.
Now, talk to me about self-care.
I think I'm in a season of just getting back to knowing myself. Like I said, I was a young mom, right? So in those seasons when you're in your 20s and everybody's finding themselves.
Right.
I didn't have a finding myself season. I had a motherhood season.
Back to back to back.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yes. 12, 10, and 5. The 5, I don't know.
That's always a lot.
He's here. We love him so much. But yeah, I think during that little season, when I was like turning 30, is when I kind of got back to the groove. And I was like, okay, I'm more than just a mother. I'm more than a therapist.
Nice.
I'm more than, an event planner, right? I'm Chelsea, right? And so I think I owed myself that. And I wasn't trying to be a martyr for the motherhood season, but it was a season of like, I had to sacrifice a lot. And now I'm digging into me, right?
What clicked for you?
That's a really good question. I think it was just age.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
like some women are like 40 or 30.
That makes sense.
Those milestone years.
Yeah.
And I had 3 children. I was like, I can do anything. Like
That is true. Anything.
anything. And an autism diagnosis. Like
Anything.
Like, listen, girl, I can do it all. So I was like, why do I second guess myself so much? Like, you understand, and most autism moms understand, every day can be a challenge, right? And so it was like, I've gotten to this point, and my daughter's thriving. She started speaking. The
So
potty training started coming
amazing.
along.
Yes.
And she was going to school by this time, full day. And I was like, oh my God.
A full day. It's no joke. It's like thank goodness.
I can take a nap if I wanted to, but no, I have to work. But it was awesome to just feel like I've done enough. I've done enough. Not that like I'm done ever, because I'm still a mother.
Yeah.
But I can release to the school and follow up on the IEP meetings, and it's not so much boots on the ground, right? In the house, getting them in the stroller. All of that season was kind of over. And then I had school age kids. So me being 36, I feel like I'm just kind of getting my groove. But I'm still young. But the self-care was like kaput.
Yeah.
It was nowhere to be found.
Yeah. It's common. It's common. So what are you doing for you?
You know what? Everything. Yeah. Like
I love that answer.
Everything.
I love that.
Like, you tell me what we're doing. Like, that's me. I love to, like I said, throw parties. I love to entertain, paid or unpaid. I love to work in a nonprofit.
Okay.
I'm a Jack and Jill mother. And so...
Well, explain to the listeners.
Sure.
Jack and Jill.
Yeah, Jack and Jill of America is the oldest African-American nonprofit organization. And so we develop children and into leaders. And we do a lot of community work as well. And so I felt like, why am I doing this, right? And when I joined the organization, they had this program that they were instituting called We Are One. And it was for neurodivergent children to participate in all the activities.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, maybe this isn't like a sorority organization of bougie Black women. It's a little bit more than that. I'm into this. And so I think that's what drew me, is I was like, this is another community, right, for my Layla, right? Yeah. I have the autism moms. I have our actual family, but, joining Jack and Jill and knowing that they open their doors
that's beautiful.
to all children to build future leaders and trailblazers was like a no-brainer for me. So I feel like sisterhood and community and just pouring into people and children is definitely a passion of mine. And I think I do it at home with Layla and my kids. I do it with all the kids in New Jersey. So I do a lot of stuff that's like, I'm in a season where I'm like, I'm not getting paid for a lot of this stuff, but I feel good.
Yeah.
I feel good.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm pouring into people, and that's going to come back to me.
Absolutely. It absolutely will.
Yeah.
So I want to get into your event planning business.
Yes.
Now, have you always, has this always been a passion of yours? How did you come to event planning?
So in college, I went to Howard University, HU.
Ooh.
You know. We're so annoying. The most annoying alums ever. And so on the weekends, I was doing concierge in downtown DC, and they would do like mixers and pop-ups and stuff like that. And I was like, oh my God, I love parties. I've always been a party animal in college.
But you wasn't going to the clubs.
I was absolutely the clubs. Girl, I said I was an early mom. I was a young mom. What was I doing?
Limelight? You know Limelight? It's a test.
Mom, are you on? So I fell in love with parties, right? I wasn't like a bottle girl, if you will. I was more so like a corporate event planner. And then we moved to Jersey, and again, autism is my world, right? And I realized that, like, okay, my baby has her first birthday or second, third, fifth, and no one's coming, right? Yeah. You know, and it's like, it's tough, right? And I was like, well, I'm just going to go over the top. Kim Kardashian style.
Oh.
Like, all the time. And people were like, you should do this for a living. Because I was like, okay, no one's going to celebrate my baby. I'm going to celebrate her.
Wow. That's
so,
amazing.
Balloon garlands, you name it. I was like DIYing everything in my house. And my friends were like, girl, you should do this for a living. And I was like, you think so? And so I just started like doing people's baby showers and like, you know, I didn't know what I was doing. And then I went back to school at NYU, and I learned a lot about weddings and like how to properly like run an event business, which was different than just baby showers. Absolutely. And then I just jumped out there again, head first, not knowing what I'm doing, like autism and the diagnosis and everything in my life. And I started my own business. And so for the last 10 years, like I have just been grinding in weddings and events. I've gone as far as California, to the Hamptons, to Atlanta.
Oh, so you're not just based in Jersey.
I go where the brides tell me they're getting married, wherever I'm following them. Venues. I love architecture. So it was like a culmination of me and my bubbly personality, toxic positivity. Oh, there's no fire. What are you talking about?
It worked.
Right? It's like all encompassing Chelsea. So I think that's another thing is what I touched on earlier. It feels good to pour into people, right? Their biggest day of their year, their birthday, milestone events.
Yeah.
That makes me feel awesome. You know what I mean? That I get to just fluff somebody's, veil and send them on their way. I don't know if they are even together, but that's not my problem.
That's just not my problem.
I'm here for the wedding, not the divorce, all right? But yeah, so I feel like events and weddings just goes into who I am and, just pouring into other people and making them happy.
Now, do you want to continue just growing your business?
Yeah.
Is there other ventures that you're thinking about going into?
Yeah. Long story short, I would love to open my own venue. New Jersey is like venue capital USA. But I think a lot of the venues are usually like very family owned. They're large properties.
Yeah.
I don't want to do just like a small, I want to do like a country club size.
Okay.
Like I want to do something major in the New Jersey market, which we love to party. We love to party out here. But I think I would love to open my own space. Like a large wedding
Beautiful.
venue. Yes.
Beautiful.
That I could just go to instead of following the brides wherever they go. They could come to me.
Well, you're limitless, and
Thank you.
And I always say, like, why not go big?
I know.
Like
right?
I feel like we do limit ourselves.
We
like,
do.
oh, well, maybe I'll just start here.
Right.
Why?
Right.
Why?
Right. And listen, it could be a job for Layla at one time.
You're
because she's going to be with me probably for her lifetime. So I think like, I tell my kids, I'm like, you guys, if it's not a child labor law, you're going to be working for mommy.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to be picking up tables and chairs and doing all the things and laying linens and setting tables. So
I could see it.
Yeah.
I can really see it. I can. I'm waiting the discount. I can see that too. Discount.
I got you, girl.
10%
off. Remember that time I was on your podcast?
Yes. Remember you said 10%? I could go roll back the tape because let me go pull it out of the archive.
I'm screaming. I got you.
Well, that is that's beautiful, and
Thanks.
you have even though, you talk about the toxicity of being positive, it got you through.
It did.
Right? We talk about affirmations and after a while, if you say it long enough, you'll internalize that.
Right.
And so you got through. You have your beautiful 3 babies. You got your
do.
spouse, and you're doing the thing.
Thank you, girl.
Miss Howard University.
Hey.
So my favorite part of the show is where we gift back to a mom out there who is listening. And sometimes I don't even realize like how global it actually is until these moms reach out, and how much they get out of this part because they feel alone and isolated.
Yeah.
So if there's a mom out there who is just getting the diagnosis, doesn't know what to do, feels like she has to be everything to everyone, right? What would you tell her?
You don't have to do it all. You do not have to do it all. You just have to take it a day at a time. You just baby steps. Find a win in everything, right? If it's not talking, if it's not, walking, anything.
I love
right?
that.
Just they say mama, they
Win.
say and
Win.
It doesn't matter. They potty trained 15.
Win.
They're potty trained.
Yep.
That's a W, right? And just stay relentless. Just keep on pushing.
Keep on pushing.
That's it.
I love the relentless.
Yeah.
Because that's what we have to do.
We're moms.
We have to do.
We're
we
moms.
have to do. We're moms, and that we can do hard things.
We can.
We can do hard things.
Yeah. And our kids are watching.
And you're right.
Right. And so it's like, if I'm positive, they'll learn to be positive too.
They're sponges.
Yeah, they really are.
They model. You ebbed off. Not like I'm not a positive person now, but I'm just saying, like, now I feel like I can tackle the world. And
Oh my
like,
God, I
hello,
love it.
how are you?
Not me being
Hi.
a motivational speaker. I'm just kidding.
That's
joking.
20%.
No.
20%.
Listen, I've got you on,
I appreciate
on
that.
the wedding.
And I so appreciate you coming to the show, coming all the way, down from. Still, West Orange is a little bit of a hike. It's not like around the corner. But I do appreciate you for coming down and just gifting the moms with your authentic story.
Oh, of course.
I appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been so good.
Yeah.
I totally, I'm such a fan of the
Aw.
podcast and you. And just hearing all the mom stories, it makes me feel like I have my own little community online.
Badass community.
Yes.
We have some badass
I'm
moms.
telling you.
Oh, it's so inspiring,
It
right?
is.
Like it's just
It
like
is.
wow, we got badass moms in the UK, badass moms in Canada.
Girl, I loved that one. Like that was
Yes.
one of my favorites.
Yes.
I'm just like,
Yes.
we're everywhere. We really are global.
Yeah. So I do appreciate you. Thank you again.
Thank you so much.
And for my listeners, this was like I love her. Like we're friends now.
I know. You always have like online friends. You're like, oh my God, in my head we're friends.
Yeah,
Now we're
yeah.
officially
Some people
friends.
you just connect with. You
Yes.
just already, we're out there, we're just talking, and it was just hey. So we're friends, 30%.
Right, it keeps going up. I'm like, the discount keep going up. What's going on here?
Yes, but listen, positivity, it is a thing, right? Like just make sure that you are taking the time for you, that just like was said by Chelsea, is that take that win, right? It's so nice when we can see our child where they initially were to then where they are at, because there is always growth there. There's always growth. You can do hard things, we can do hard things. I'm challenging moms out there. I always talk about that this is like such a global movement. Listen, there is countries that we haven't tapped into that I want you on the show. You want to fly in? You can fly in. You want to Zoom? We can Zoom. But your story needs to be heard. It definitely does need to be heard. So listen, reach out to me, DM me. I look at my DMs. I'm not a huge celebrity yet, but I do. I look at my DMs and I do respond. So on that note, stay fierce, stay determined, and stay courageous, like Miss Chelsea over here from Howard University.
Hey.
All right. I'll see you next Tuesday. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.